Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. Until you start believing in yourself, you ain't gonna have a life.
Tuesday, the 28th of October 2014. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show. We missed last week, so don't look for the 21st. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
You were busy. Now, I think there's something going on. In the past couple of weeks, I'm going to make this claim that whatever it is that makes our people lose their memories, whatever it is, has been more concentrated or turned up. Because around me, particularly the people that I work with every day, something is different. Something is blinking well changing. These people who I've known for a long, long time, who have done very much the same job for a long, long time, they're forgetting how to do things. And they're not old enough to remember, or to forget, how to do things.
No.
Because I am the oldest member of staff we have. And I don't claim to be anything different to what they are. Because a couple of members of staff have been around this shop almost as long as I have.
Yeah.
So there is no reason why they should forget and I should remember. But forget they are.
And we're not talking Mensa type things to remember, are we?
We're talking about how we've always run the shop.
General.
How we've always done it.
And it operates in a procedure. This job, that job, next job.
But luckily, the Death Management Service is incentivising doctors to help them. They're incentivising doctors to give them a hand. 55 quid now for every diagnosis of dementia. This is not normal.
No.
This is not what happens in a healthy society.
No.
The doctors are not incentivised to diagnose things.
No, they shouldn't be.
They're meant to not treat the symptoms. We're meant to be finding out the cause.
Yes.
What is the cause of all this?
Yep.
But we don't do that.
No.
We race for the cure. We don't actually go back and find the cause. Because if we did find the cause, we wouldn't have to race for the cure, would we?
Nope. Something crass really happened to me just the other weekend. I'd been out working all day, got home, and sat down. My wife had something on the TV when I got in, and it was the cancer thing that they've been running with Davina McCall and all these celebrities. And a statement came up, and it said, breast cancer is the highest form of cancer. It's the most percentage of breast cancer. And I just sat on the settee, and I just said, why is breast cancer the highest percentage of cancer that you get?
Shall I play devil's advocate?
Go on.
It's because we're testing them more. It's because we're testing them more.
Exactly. Now, my wife is she spent 30 years in the NHS, and she came up with that line, that exact line, and she's now in a job where she does research.
You see, because the fact that we're testing them more means that I've answered your question by not knowing the
By
answer.
not knowing the answer,
Because what happens is, I have actually come up with the answer that I've been given, that we're testing them more. Now, the statement that you made, that breast cancer is the number one cancer, particularly in women, well, in women, in the UK. Okay, I've negated that statistic by saying, well, we just test more for it.
We're spotting it more.
See, the fact that it's number one,
Yes.
right, has gone now.
It's gone, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
No.
It's because we test for it more.
Because we're diagnosing it more.
That's right. So it's all right now.
It's all right.
So if you just don't mind, because adverts are back on. Well, adverts only finished in a minute.
We've found out what the answer
Yeah, but
is.
adverts only finished in a minute. So
Yeah.
thanks for that.
And I just said to my wife, I said, no, you haven't answered the question. I said, why is breast cancer, the number one cancer? Why is that? And she said, I don't know what you mean. I said, I'm asking.
That's a tough question. You know that, don't you?
How?
It's a tough question.
Exactly.
For people who aren't used to answering.
I was trying to think of ways to put it, more simpler ways to.
Yeah, that's right.
Why are women getting breast cancer, and why is that the top cancer? Why is that? And she just went, I don't know. I said, well,
but that was a victory.
That
in your house, that's a victory, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Because there was no conspiracy theory in it. There was no, where have you been looking on the internet again?
How many times do people say, I don't
know.
You see, the one thing that we do have, we might have small minds, closed minds, but we have an opinion on every bloody thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this evening's show, which is unpenned, unscripted, I didn't thought about it. I sort of have a feeling which way I'm going to go with it. Now, I'm going to make a claim here that there's two things that perhaps we should look at ourselves when we should look and see if it's in ourselves when we look in the mirror. The first is that we have no idea how the money system works.
No.
We don't. Now, people through default, and because they're too embarrassed to say I don't know, just say the government print it and the banks lend it out. Right? And then the other ones say, well, the banks take the money in and lend some of the money out that they've been deposited. Right? But no one really knows. No one actually knows how the money system works or where it comes from.
No.
Except the government prints it and that's the way it is. Well, that's completely wrong. Couldn't be further from the truth. But 90 out of 100 people say that's how it is. A bad education. How many people would admit they've had a bad education and they're carrying it around and it's a handicap on their backs and they don't even know? No. There's a third thing. These are two things that I wanted to mention because I'm good at maths. And this is our ability to forget. Our ability to forget, which goes back to how we started with just the memories ain't working no more.
Nope.
I researched a couple of stats, and this is the most popular one that people seem to quote. And it's the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. And from what I've just said in the past few minutes, 100% of the people will actually pretty much remember what I've just said. But here's the amazing bit. Just 20 minutes later, only 58% will be able to remember pretty much accurately what I said. The next stop is 1 hour. 44% of people will be able to recall what happened an hour ago. Okay, not the continuous hour. 44% of people will be able to recall what happened an hour ago. Then if we go right to a day, okay, the amount of people who can remember what happened this time yesterday is only 33%. And if we go to 31 days, 1 in 5 can pretty much sort of remember with a bit of prompting. Isn't that amazing?
It is, yeah.
And looking at the curve, you can see the curve here, okay? You can actually see it.
I can see it, yeah.
It does go down to 0.
Yeah.
If it was to be continued, it does go down to 0.
Eventually it'd be 0.
Where over a period of time that is longer than 31 days, which is this graph here, over a period of time, nobody can remember.
Nobody can, nope.
Do you think that might actually, that line there might get to 0 in about the period of a lifetime? In about the period of about a lifetime. Yeah. So 1 lifetime is all it takes for us to forget everything. I agree with that, you know.
Yeah.
I think one lifetime is the ability for us to change the paradigms completely. About every 8 years we get a new paradigm, a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of speaking, and a new way of being. I think that's about right.
Yeah. Well, that fits with the information release, doesn't it? They know that when they're releasing information, when to release it. I'm thinking now about wartime and the Official Secrets Act and all this bollocks that we're told.
Yeah.
And when to release it. And they always release it when the majority of people are dead and gone that can't say, you're wrong there.
It's all the people involved are gone.
Oh, exactly.
So nobody can bring a case.
Nobody can actually...
It's only when all the important people are dead, then we can let it go.
Then they can let it go, because there's nobody to come back to contradict what his story has said.
Now, why do you think they actually released that, though? Why do you think they actually... I mean, we've talked many times, haven't we, about there is an overarching control system that pretty much controls money and technology, or at least the improvements to our lives and living. They pretty much can control how those things are filtered down and given to us, and the money system. Everything else, I think, is through spying. Everything else is through the spies network. And if you think it's not spying, well, you don't really know what's in your house, do they?
No.
Your house is full of machines designed to spy on you every minute, live time. If spying wasn't important, they wouldn't be doing it, would they?
No.
Now, we can say it's so they can protect themselves from people who perhaps want to... challenge the authority that they hold, and that's probably true. But moreover than that, it's so that they can create tomorrow's reality and be successful doing so, because they know what we expect from tomorrow's reality, because they've told us what to expect from tomorrow's reality. So as long as the majority of people can say, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, it's going to get a lot worse. I mean, austerity hasn't even started yet. Hasn't even started yet. You don't know what's coming. Well, that's licensed to them to carry on, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about it being Christmas every day, and people don't perhaps understand what I mean by that. But I'm going to keep using our terminology, because the terminology me and you use, if people can halfway sort of think, why are they saying those things? It's because there is a depth of understanding this language that we don't understand, but it allows the people above our pay grades to communicate.
Yes.
And we don't know that they know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
We think we know what they're saying, but they know exactly what they're saying because of the second and third levels of decode.
Yeah, they've got the enigma. They've got the enigma machine.
They know
haven't
how
they?
to decode what they're saying to each other because they recognise each other.
Yeah.
You know, even winking is something that was throughout the years. Winking has always been to the nose a secret.
Yeah.
It's always and obviously hand signals and that sort of thing, and the ties they wear and the emblems or whatever. It's all to recognise each other.
Well, fingers on lips was brought out by the bankers.
I'm not surprised.
It was
keep quiet, yeah.
If they were in a room and somebody was going to, or they'd heard somebody speaking out of turn, they would look at them and just put the hand over the mouth like that.
Yeah.
And on the fulcrum.
On the fulcrum to keep things in balance.
Keep in balance.
Keep the balances correct. The banking system, let's keep its balances
all
correct.
Works on balance sheets,
It does all work on balance sheets. But yeah, going back to, there is an entire level of communication, of diction, that we don't care to actually decode at all because we don't know it exists. And when people like you and I try and say, look, there is a little bit more to this. We are slaves. I mean, if you work for somebody else, if you actually work for somebody else, you're a slave. It doesn't sit well with people, that, does it? But it's because you're a long way from home. We are the most domesticated Western country, I believe, in the world. Again, people won't like me saying that. But it's okay, I don't know you. I'm not saying it to you personally, and this might not apply to your circumstances. If you don't like it, I don't actually care. At all. In the slightest. Please don't think I do. I don't. We are slaves.
Yeah.
We are slaves, and we do as we are told.
We certainly
and
do.
we pay what we are awarded.
Told to pay. Demanded to pay.
Well, we pay what we're awarded. And luckily our masters have given us a minimum wage. Which, of course,
that's kind of
luckily is licensed to the people who employ us to pay us that little. And that's called is it called a working wage? But it's not a living wage, is it?
No, it's
we now have a working poor. working poor, which means exactly what the plan was, that you go and work your ass off, you don't get enough money to pay your bills, so you have to go to Big Mummy and Big Daddy, the welfare socialised state that you live in, because you're a socialist and you don't think you think you're a capitalist or a bloody communist, you think you're free, you think it's democratic,
You do.
and it's simply quite simple because you've had a bad, shitty education.
You think they're robbing Peter to pay you, Paul.
Exactly.
Exactly, innit?
The battle
No.
of the bloody isms, you nuggets. You know, bloody nugget. This is a bad education. And the one thing that grinds my bloody goat, I'll tell you, is you go on Facebook and you see people who've had a bad education, and 5 minutes on YouTube and they're flicking know everything. You know, I mean, there's 3 questions you're not allowed to ask people who talk about the alternative news, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
What's your real name? What's your real name? And what do you do? What do you do? And where do you live? Are you married? You know, have you got a job? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to ask the very questions that allows you to know if you are in any way similar. The only question you're allowed to ask is, it's a scam, innit? Yeah, it is a scam. Then we're blood brothers. Because that other information doesn't matter. Do you know why it doesn't matter? Because one person's lying here.
Yeah.
One person's bloody lying, you see.
It's all prepaid.
It's like Freeman on benefits. They're brilliant now, man. Freeman on benefits.
Free man on the land.
Who's that? What's the hate of Gaia? How do you get by? That's for me to know. That's for me to know. I'm not bloody telling you.
Yeah. None of your business. Keep
None of your business. I've got money. I help people around the world. It's none of your business. I don't shout and bawl about it, but I'm telling you now because I hope you might believe me. And you do believe me, don't you? Good, because you're part of my gang. If you don't believe me, you'll have to bugger off.
Yeah.
It's actually Look at Me book. That's what this is called. Look at Me book. Right? I've got a new name for it. Look at Me book. And if you don't look at me, I'll be annoyed because you have to like it. And I don't mind if you comment. I don't mind if you share it, unless it's not very nice. Now, if you're not very nice, don't comment, don't share it.
No.
And if you're really nasty to me, I'm going to block you.
Yeah,
I'm going to block you.
Or we'll bully you.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's it. You know the drill, boys. Yes. You know the drill. Attack. Attack. Here's the shills. Attack them. It's embarrassing.
They're a shill, they're a troll.
Yep. You know the drill. Go ahead. Off with their heads. It's just embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
If people want to know why we can't unite, do you know why? Because don't bloody want to.
We don't
bloody want to, because the way this works is, right, the way this works is I'll try and convince you that I am better than you. And if somebody else notices, you know, we have people who are budding journalists who spend hours, weeks, right, writing their own journal columns. All right, I'm thinking of one guy in particular. Brilliant journalist. He attacks the local council, he attacks village councils, parish councils. He's brilliant journalist. Nobody's paying him. But I suspect if the BBC said, would you like to come and work with us?
Yeah.
Be there like a flash. You see, have we not realised yet that the newspapers are making us this way? Are we still this bloody stupid that we are actually playing into the hands of the agenda? All the news stories we get are from the news. Yeah. All the versions of events we get are from the controllers. And all the alternatives that may or may not be true exist only in virtual reality. Yeah. Anybody who wants to do a little bit of research should know that the future is designed for us to actually lose hold of what's real completely.
Yes, completely.
So we no longer know what's true and what isn't. And virtual reality is gearing up well. My microphone's playing about again, isn't it? Did you hear me?
I did.
Sounds like I was gargling there a bit, didn't it? But it's working really well. That's exactly what's meant to be going on.
It is.
So we don't know what's true or isn't. So we go on virtual reality and argue about it. Genius, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And people think it matters. I opened with the Rocky one starts tonight because if we're going to get into some home truths, as it were, let's do it, shall we? Nobody gives a flying camel's toe what you're doing. They don't care because you're not doing anything.
No.
Like, comment, share. Like, comment, share. Well, I'm not sharing it because I look stupid if I share it. So I just like and comment. The reason I don't share it is because I'll be embarrassed to put it on my online because people think I'm nuts. So I don't share it. Is that alright? But I do like it and I do comment, but I'm not sharing it.
I must admit I don't share much because it causes too many arguments at home. What have you put that up for? Oh, does it matter? You didn't comment on it and you haven't shared it.
I just say to folks, look, if you want to comment on my stuff, feel free. Why? What? Why? Why? You know why? I mean, I don't really feel that. I don't feel the need to go onto your page and go stomping over your personal pages. But if you feel the ability, if you feel free to come and adding something to my page, which is mostly disagreeing with me,
yeah.
Well, thanks very much. Who are you? Who are you? What do you do? Where do you come from? What experiences do you have? Well, I'm not answering that. Well, sod off then.
Yeah. Are they going to be able to?
No.
Sometime in the future,
No.
come back and sue
They're
you
not
for
going
emotional.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Emotional. What do they call it?
It's emotional abuse, isn't it?
Emotional abuse.
It's
yeah.
emotional abuse now. This is the new offence that will come out. This is the new offence that will come out, and if it applies to anything now.
It does.
If you upset somebody, then you can be accused of it's basically just a posh word for a bit of bully.
Yeah,
it is. I would not have thought that we would get here in our life.
No.
Do you remember when we first started and we said, I wonder if we'll see the madness in our lifetimes. I wonder if we will actually see those around us falling apart in our lifetimes. And we always envisage that it would be a little bit further away than it is now.
Yeah.
But it's actually here.
It is. Here and now.
Because I find I am actually having to retrain my staff. I'm actually having to tell them how to do the job that they could previously do easily. This doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
But it does make sense when I find out that the delivery drivers that I have from the 4 main companies that we use, they have to go on a course once a year to be reminded how to do their job. I do. I know. you couldn't. It's true.
Do they get a certificate?
They do get a certificate. Yeah,
do the job.
They do. Yeah. And it's and
this is to certify that.
Well, yeah. And all the trucks now have got trackers in.
I need certifying.
Yeah, but they've all got trackers in. Right.
Oh my God.
All you said, look, a little bit of wheel come out if you don't be careful. They have to go and be told any new rules and regulations regarding what they do. The trackers are now in the trucks.
Yeah,
okay, they are in the trucks. And well, do you know something? I didn't know this. The trackers, right? The wagons aren't yet limited by a speed restrictor, but the trackers they have, right? They've got 3 lights on them. Who'd have thought 3 lights? Who'd have thought? Right? When they're below 56 miles an hour, it's green.
it's good.
When they approach 56, oh, it's going again, isn't it?
Is, yeah.
When
Gremlins.
when they approach 56 miles an hour, it goes to yellow. And if they go over 56 miles an hour, guess what colour? Guess what colour? Blue. No, it's red.
Did you? I was going to say purple.
And do you know if they get more than 3 or is it 5 red marks a month?
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't get the driving bonus. They don't get the driving bonus.
Like kids with stickers in it at school.
It's ridiculous. Christmas every day. I never did do it, did I?
No.
Oh, it's still coughing. Stupid microphone. Why is it Christmas every day? Oh, you can. It sounds terrible, doesn't it?
It does.
Hang on a second. Attempt number 2. Christmas every day. And that's because we get so many different types of the present.
Yeah.
You know, people should understand that's we get presents from everybody. They tell us just what's happening here and what's happening there and what's happening there. And we decide which present to choose. And apparently that's the one we open, that's the one we live for today, and that's the one we use for today.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we get another choice of which present do you want.
Yeah. Or decide which one you want to pass the parcel with.
Well, the idea is the music's meant to stop and you unwrap the present properly. But people unwrap it for you. And you don't realise that they don't know, they haven't done it properly at all.
No.
we're 300 or 400 years broken thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you work for somebody else, you're broken. If you're in debt up to your neck, you're broken.
Mm-hmm.
If you're arguing with everybody, you're broken.
Yeah.
If you've been to slave training camp and come out of slave training camp and you've got no special skill, you're broken.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter.
No.
It might not be right. It might not be fair, and I might not agree with what I'm going to say. But the fact of the matter is that you've had your chances, and you've bloody blowed it.
Yeah.
So fix the problem.
Yeah.
And the problem is you.
Mm-hmm.
You.
It is.
Right. It's not anybody else.
No, I've broken everything.
It's not everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not the system. Right. I know. I agree to a point that it is the system and how it's meant to work.
Yes.
But it's broken you.
Yeah.
You can't break. You can't fix yourself by breaking everything else.
And I agree. We have no control over the economy.
But we can control ourselves.
But you can control your own economy.
Yes, exactly.
By
running families, by running families as a business.
As a business, yeah.
Like we used to do. We've talked about this many times.
Yeah.
Nobody does it.
No.
Because we live in a world of wants. Mm-hmm. Do you need it? Doesn't matter. Want it.
No, want it, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Want it. But do you need it?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I want it.
No.
The problem is looking back at you in the mirror and the alternative gang who try and present reality as it appears to be, we're helping the system. Mm-hmm. We're helping the system by basically breaking reality. Because if people want to really know what's going on, it's very, very simple what's going on. And that is that you're either going to listen to someone like you or I and slowly but surely learn reality isn't what you thought it was, or you're going to learn in an awfully big rush in some time in the future when the reality that you're trying to maintain falls to bloody pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, at that point where it all falls to pieces, you'll be running around like a headless chicken, not knowing what to do with yourself. Or you can slowly learn how it works, because The Guardian, The Spectator, The Telegraph, The Daily Mail, all those newspapers are starting to tell you. Mm-hmm. Now, I know everyone says that is propaganda, and I'm agreeing with you, it is. But it's only propaganda in a way that the newspaper tells the story which is advantageous to them, so you buy the paper tomorrow. Mm-hmm. In other words, the language that they use is appropriate for the level and the intelligence of the reader that is actually reading it, which is why The Sun is very much a comic, and which is why The Telegraph is very much the paper of choice for those academics. Mm-hmm. It's not by mistake that those two gaps exist. The academics can't be seen reading The Sun, and your bricklayers won't be reading The Telegraph more often than not. It's just they sell to their audience, and they have to speak accordingly. So that's what happens there. But the newspapers are creating a reality that we're meant to believe exists. And you may well say over the years that's what they've been doing, but now there's no doubt about it. They're actually telling you the reality that does exist. Now, whether they've been creating one in the past, I don't know. But I do know in my time of studying this closely, they're telling you to some extent how it actually works. But they're only telling you in little bits. Mm-hmm. If you want to put this together yourself, you're going to have to sit down and do an awful lot of studying.
Yes.
No one's going to do that.
No.
And they know that, which is why they couldn't care less, and they tell you pretty much what's going on.
Yeah.
Because to actually piece this together, you come up with a conclusion that you don't really want to be true. And the conclusion is very simple. Your life has no purpose, no value, and once they've managed to take all the energy out of your very existence, they're quite happy to kill you. Mm. Now, who wants to believe that is true? I don't want to believe that is true. And I don't want to have to tell other people that that is the basis of how this works. Mm-hmm. You've been allowed to be born, otherwise you wouldn't be. Simple as that, you just wouldn't be here. So they've allowed you to be born, and the idea is that we'll give you a basic education, which will cap your ability to a certain level, and then you'll serve our needs. Now, that worked well in the industrial era, but that's over now, isn't it?
It is.
The industrial era is over. The mass forms of education that we've all been indoctrinated with, those people aren't needed anymore. They're not needed at all.
No.
A different type of human becoming is needed. Mm-hmm. And education is now changing, so we don't recognise it. Any parents out there will know that the method of teaching kids maths is absolutely mystifying.
Mm-hmm.
And it also changes. You teach them for a couple of years one way, then it changes again. And they use lines and dots and dashes and boxes and whatever. There's loads of different ways of teaching them how to do maths, except the stack method that we used to use.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't the stack method. And the way they do it now is they collectivise the kids. I mean, if you want to know how education is being socialised, it's really simple. Socialism, which everybody lives in and nobody understands or actually realises or accepts, but you still live in it. Socialism is quite simple. It's if we can't all be rich, then when we're done, we'll all be equally poor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, education goes exactly the same way. And that is that if we can't all be smart, education will make us all equally dumb.
Yeah.
That's socialism. The reason why would they do that? The reason why they would do that is because the economy and technology and the future doesn't need us. It doesn't need us. Now, I know there's plenty of articles out there that says we've always been needed. They said this when cars came. They said this when the buses and the trains and all the revolutions that we've had in the past. We won't need all these people. But yet, new jobs were found. New industries were created. And a new bubble was found, and we blew that up. And we moved along.
Mm-hmm.
The boom and bust cycle kept going. But now we're in the bust part of this cycle, and there is no evidence of anything that's going to save what we see in the future.
No.
Technology is here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been introduced at a slow pace, but it's been introduced. We have driverless cars been introduced into the UK in January next year. They're only being trialled.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the start of the beginning of a change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is it. It's going to change. If those driverless cars are licensed for use for certain opportunities, then they'll be used for that. And if that's a success, then they'll be licensed for further uses. Well, I don't know how many people drive cars for a living, but I do know that there's 26 million cars on the road in the UK. So that's 26 million people at some point during the day are driving the car.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the kicker. Those 26 million cars that move around all day, the majority, or at least well over half of them, sit in a car park all day.
Yes.
They're
only used in rush hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the actual kicker is going to be, as we run out of money, is that you don't have to buy a car anymore. You can actually just hire a car for what you need.
Yes.
And you hire a car by using the internet to book the car.
Mm-hmm.
It comes and collects you, takes you where you want to go. And because there's so few cars on the road, and because these things can't crash into each other, they can travel much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can travel nose to tail with maybe 6 inches between bumper to bumper, and they can travel at 80 miles an hour and they'll never crash.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to love it.
Yeah.
Until we realise that
You can't go
that's
anywhere.
another few millions of people who haven't got a job anymore.
Yeah. And your freedom of movement, although you think you've got freedom of movement, you haven't.
Well, we'll be able to simulate that.
Yes.
Because the simulation card in your phone
Of course.
will actually it'll take you
can now take
it'll
you
take
anywhere
you wherever
you
you want to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This mobile phone, this whatever you want to call it, Markov, which we spoke about 4 or 5 years. I don't know why people are looking for a chip in their hand. It's already there. You're going to chip the wrist, and they're going to put a chip in there. No, they're not. It's already there.
Yeah.
You're going to put it in.
Mm.
You're going to put it in your ear first. Oh, we're already doing that. Oh, good. Then you're going to put it in your glasses. Well, yeah, we can see that. Then you're going to put it in contact lenses. Yeah, we can see that. And then they're going to put it in your head. It's fairly straightforward what's going to happen.
Mm.
And these are upgrades that we're going to be demanding.
Yep.
These are upgrades that we shall demand, because education is knackered. It's absolutely knackered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can be fooled into thinking that the kids are getting an education for the new age era of technology. No. Technology is remote control. It's remote controlling us. What do you say about the updates?
Mm-hmm.
When Windows updates, what's it doing? Well, it's downloading the entire contents of what you've been doing. What you've been up to.
It takes that long to shut you.
Let's get this sorted, shall we? It's downloading the entire contents of what you've been up to.
And it always does it when you're switching your computer off.
Yeah.
It will not. You do not have to switch it off. It will switch off automatically once the updates have been done.
Yeah, because you'll do as you're told.
Yeah.
That's not your computer.
No.
It's yours to use.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't operate the system.
Oh, you don't.
The system operates you.
It does, yeah.
We're a long, long way, and I know that lots of people want to moan about this, moan about that, and moan about the other, and moan about this. Doesn't make any difference. You make no friends doing that, do you?
Nope.
You make no friends. You are not attractive when you're more grown, and you're actually not fixing yourself in any way. The system is, as it always does, it's tearing down realities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did, didn't it? In the early days, our realities were falling apart.
Yes.
Our world was falling apart. Everything we touched wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we thought was real, when we went to check, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And everything that we thought we could collect, when we went to collect it, it wasn't available.
And you can't believe it at the time.
You don't believe it. The world
You think,
isn't
no,
at all what you thought it was.
This ain't
This has been
what I signed up for.
But this is now been done on a worldwide basis. The whole system is collapsing into something new. And about every 8 years we get a new paradigm. And this is the update, and this is the longest update in my lifetime. And it's the fastest one as well. The speed with which it's going is remarkable.
Yeah.
You know, the kids that came out of school just 10 years ago, I could still employ and teach quite straightforwardly. The kids that I get now out of school 10 years later, they're no good. They're no good for anything. They don't know anything. Is it this year 17, next year 18 when we get them to leave school in the UK?
It's going to be 18, yeah. And we know we're in crisis when they...
Up the school age.
Yeah.
Because the real school age now is 21, isn't it?
It really is,
Because after 18, you're still going to have no qualifications.
No.
You're still, I mean, this is 13, 14 years at Slave Training Centre.
Yeah.
You come out and you can barely write your flicking name. You've got no skill, no talent, and if you've got an apprenticeship, well done. I advise you to get one.
Yeah.
If not, another 3 years and at least 30 grand to get a piece of paper called a decree, and some people will have degrees that they'll actually qualify you to do a minimum wage job.
At what degree will it stop?
It's never going to.
No. When we were at school, it were O levels and A levels, wasn't it? My kids have gone to school and they did GCSEs or something like that.
CSAs, yeah.
And
then just GCSEs,
GCSEs, and then they did
yeah.
AS levels, which was the 17-year-old, not quite an A level.
Because 2 years time we're going to I levels, aren't
we? Yeah, and then there were are we?
So yeah,
the eyes have it.
I level, yeah.
And then they did A levels, and I remember Lewis. He didn't go and do his A levels. He did his AS levels, and then he'd had enough. He said, "I'm kicking this into touch. I've had enough of this lot." So he actually packed it in at 17. And but my daughter's gone the full hog. Yeah, right up until she was into university, and you're still called a student. You're still. My wife's 48, and she's been doing a master's. She was called the star pupil. You are my star pupil. I says, you're a student, aren't you? And she said, oh, you always knock the wind out of my sails. I says, but you're a student, you're not a pupil.
Well, the word pupil can be found in your eye, in the centre of your eye.
It can.
And if you're a pupil, you've been told what to see, aren't you?
Yes, you are.
The church pulps it in. Yeah?
It does.
Yeah, I believe it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It pulps it in, the pulpit. They tell you what to see. We live in a world now where don't you trust yourself, you listen to us. We'll tell you what you've seen, and we'll tell you why you've seen it.
Yes.
Yep, don't you worry about what... Don't trust your own eyes and ears, because they're not reliable. Don't you trust other people, you trust us. And slowly but surely they're creating that reality.
The Ministry of Truth.
The Ministry of Truth is here, yeah. We're always at war with East Asia. We've never been at war with East Asia.
It reminds me of the Harry Potter books, and my daughter, she was right into the Harry Potter books, and they have ministries in there, don't they? Ministry of Magic and all that and everything. I'm just thinking, crikey, don't they get them at an early age?
Did she write that great big book of spells or something like that? Did she had something to do with that? I don't know anyway.
No, we'll never know, will we?
But it is all magic and spells.
It is.
Which is why they are the witches and wizards. They are the witches and wizards of our times.
Yep.
Because they control us with nothing more than words. It's the magic spell of the word. And we think it's just for kids.
Yes.
We think it's just for kids, and we go through our entire life.
Yep.
It's a ploy. It's a ploy for the mind. And it keeps us busy. And if we put ploy and mind together, then realise it's for us, we get employment. This is an employ for the mind. That's what this is. It's been very well done. I mean, they do say that once you understand this, you do actually admire. You admire the genius of this.
You do, of how how simply it's been put together, but
Well,
made to look really complicated.
But what we're actually doing now, what we're decoding, is a little embarrassing, because it was coded, at least in the language we're using now and the way we're using it now, 500 years ago.
Mm.
We're 500 years late.
Yes, we are.
That's understanding how this is done. I don't think that's a race we can win, do you?
No.
I don't think we're going to catch them.
And I think that does go back to when they first wrote the King James Bible.
That was 1604 when the new language came.
Yes.
But we know the methodology of making words and making languages.
We do, yes.
Doesn't change.
No.
Okay, the spells that we're using now are unique to us, and we're being spelled in this way.
Yes.
But the methodology of observation, preservation, and say it is the same in all languages. It's still the Sun C system.
Yeah.
It's still see it, say it, save it.
And that selfie, that new word that's gone in the dictionary, it will go. It don't matter. It's Russian, Japanese, Chinese, Indonesian. It's still still a selfie.
Most of the new words now, the English is it's not translated now. It's exported.
It is exported,
which means
yes.
over a period of time, the only language in use will be English.
English, yeah.
Well, English is the language of business right now.
Yeah.
All business and all contracts and all everything like that is written in English.
If you're flying a plane, you've got to be able to speak English, because that's the common language they use when flying planes.
It is the world's language, the world's reserve language, I suppose we'll say at the moment.
Yeah.
But over time, it will become the world's number one language. Not in our time, I don't think, but that doesn't matter. But like you say, yes, the word selfie, it will be exported without being changed.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So you are correct on that one. 500 years. Well, we can actually look back in history, believe it or not, which is fine. I don't mind if you do or you don't. But written in those pages is that this language that we're speaking today, 550 years ago, 600 plus years ago, they were arguing. It took them 150 years to put down on paper what they thought they might want the new language to look like and sound like.
Yeah.
We've always been this way.
Yeah.
And you know, it's what keeps us held fast, isn't it? We don't move on because we keep going round. We just keep going round and round and round. The illusion of going forwards while staying still or going backwards.
Yeah.
They update us, but they don't move us forward.
No, the spin doctors.
What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen when the majority of people... You see, the middle class have been taken to pieces now.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
The middle class
and
now...
they can't see it. It's
but no,
right
the middle class still exists in this country.
Certainly
but
does.
now it exists purely by debt.
Debt, yeah.
Okay, the trillionaires run the billionaires, who run the millionaires, who employ the middle class to make jobs for the working class, who pay all the bills. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And the middle class now are living a lie. They're still all driving the Audis, and they're still all living in the houses, and they're still all doing the holidays, but they haven't got any money.
No.
They haven't got any money at all. Now, before they had money, and it was the middle class that spent into the economy to keep the economy going. The middle class bought the new cars, went to the restaurants, did their houses up, bought second houses. They kept the economy going by continually renewing and keeping up with the Joneses. And then the working classes used to get cheap copies of what they were doing and do it to their houses as well.
Yeah.
That's gone now. That's gone now. The middle classes are still trying to play that game, but I think we can seriously say that look around where you live and tell me, are there more restaurants or less restaurants? And are they busy, or are they not quite as busy? And tell me what they're selling.
Exactly.
Tell me what they're selling, because this is the major factor here.
What type of restaurant is it?
What type of restaurant is it that's busy? And what are they selling? Because they're selling cheap food, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes, they are. Microwaved stuff.
They're selling
mostly.
cheap stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
Pizzas and pastas and tortellinis and burgers and roast beef and Yorkshire puddings and lasagnas and stuff like that. It's cheap food, though, isn't it? It's cheaper
if
food.
we say there's a chain near us, isn't there? We call it Scrimp and Save now. But it's one of these, you go out for a cheap meal, but that is all burgers, hot dogs, and And they're Sunday
processed
lunch.
food, though, isn't
They
it?
can do it for a £5.
But it's processed food,
yes,
though,
it
isn't
is.
it?
You upgrade to £6 for an extra sausage in a blanket. But it is. It's packet mash.
Yep.
It's Aunt Bessie's Yorkshire puddings.
Yep.
It's
Steam and serve veg.
Yeah, the roast has been roasted, and that's about it. Yeah. The rest of it's come in a packet and just been assembled on a plate.
Exactly.
There's no chefing gone on.
It's not assembled by a chef. No, that's right. It's not. This is what I mean. The restaurants look great.
Yeah.
But the food's cheap. It's cheap food, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Lots of carbs, lots of veg, nothing really. No skill or talent. How many times you've been to the pubs or you've been to the restaurant and said, well, I can make this at home?
Yeah, that's one thing I never. I always feel cheated when they put sausage and mash on the menu. If you can't do sausage and mash and peas and a bit of gravy, there's something wrong.
Don't bloody order it then.
I know, I never do, but they charge £9 for it.
I know.
Yeah, charge £9 for sausage, mash and peas and gravy. Now, if you can't make that at home yourself, then there's something wrong. There is.
I told the story only about that guy came in and said it's my daughter's birthday today.
Yeah.
What she want? I said, what we bought her? Well, she wanted a microwave, so I said, why she want a microwave? Because she's already got one. As you said, straight faced, so we can eat together. And she's a solicitor. Now, I was talking to someone this week, and I'm not going to actually say the name because I don't think they'll want me to say the name, although they probably won't be listening to the show, so it doesn't matter. And that is that another enlightening conversation about the health service, or I can't call it a health service. It doesn't keep us healthy. It isn't in the service of keeping us healthy, is it?
No.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be allowed to access. I mean, if you look at your local corner shop, I'm thinking the one that I can imagine just at the bottom of that street there.
Yeah.
Okay. When I walk in that corner shop, let's list the things that are on there, right? Chocolate, crisps, peanuts, cakes, chocolate biscuits, beer,
pop,
spirits, fizzy drinks,
Yeah.
cheese, processed, sausage rolls, pies. I'm going along the bottom now. I can't think what else there is. Sweets for the kids, cigarettes, cigars, ice cream,
tins of
pasties,
beans.
all and you think so, there's nothing in here we should really be eating.
Poor people's food.
There's nothing in here we should be eating.
There isn't.
There's no fresh fruit, no fresh veg, no fresh meat.
No.
It's all processed, packaged, and got dates that the sell-by dates are a long way now, aren't they? How do they make it last so long? How? Usually when you got whatever, you buy something with a packet, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
It's now got 2 or 3 weeks.
There was a time when the only thing that had preservative on it were a jar of jam, because it were called But now everything you look on the back of the packet is
Do you know, I can buy from my wholesalers, right? I can buy sandwich fillings, and I've never bought any. I can buy sandwich fillings, like coronation chicken, Chinese chicken.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's the other
Tuna
one?
and mayo.
Tuna and mayo, and what's the other mixture one? There's another one, a cheesy one, a cheese coleslaw type one.
Yeah.
Cheese savoury or something like that.
Yeah.
It's called, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how long a sell-by date they have on? 4 months. 4 months.
You see, it must be shrink wrapped.
I think they must be selling it to Subway.
Like a plastic bag. Oh yeah.
I think they must be selling it to Subway.
That's another place.
4 bloody months.
That's another place I don't go in.
Jesus. My cat. One time I've been. One time.
Yeah, because we had one opening ripping, didn't we?
Yeah, one time I've been. Bank Holiday Monday it was. Last Bank Holiday Monday. So I'm going to give it a go. There was 6 staff in there and 2 customers. I went in 2 o'clock Monday afternoon, Bank Holiday Monday afternoon. I looked at the price board. I haven't a clue. I've never been to Subways before. I looked at the price board and there was one hot chicken wrap thing, and I thought, I'll try one of those, please. Well, I wasn't. She said, what bread do you like? Okay, she showed me a whole rack with different breads in. So, there's the ones with the grit on the outside and the ones that don't have the grit. And I'll just have a wholemeal brown one. That'll be lovely. She said, "Do you want a foot long?" And I thought, I had no idea what she meant by that. No idea. So I said, I suppose I do.
Yeah, I'd have felt a bit inadequate.
Well, when asked for sausages, you don't order a small one, do you? They say you are what you eat. You are what you eat. I'll have a big sausage, please. So anyway, I got me bread roll, and she cut it in half. And she was a lovely little girl. It's 2 o'clock bank holiday Monday afternoon. The shops had opened a week, by the way, by then.
Mm-hmm.
And she stopped at that moment, and a supervisor came over who was American, or at least she wasn't from Ripon. And she came over, and the little girl who was serving me said, "Could you just remind me how to make this sandwich?" Right. And I thought, oh, and I sort of looked at her. She was a bit embarrassed. And I said, "Have you just started?" And she went, "No." Well, what would you think? What would you think? Right. She said, "Could you just help me make this sandwich?" And have you just started? No. Really quite offended.
Huh?
Well, I thought, well, okay, so my name is. She got her gloves on, the see-through gloves, and made all the sandwich up, okay. And then this other guy, right, this big tall guy, "Do you want it warming up?" Well, it says hot chicken wrap or whatever it is, and I said, I was hoping it would be. Will be a moment. And he took it, warmed it up. It was seconds. I don't know if he microwaved it or whatever. Seconds. Went down to the till. On the board there, £3.59 or whatever it was. Got to the end, £5.79. Because I'd ordered the foot long.
Oh, you'd gone large.
I didn't realise. Anyway, that was my my attempt in Subway.
Mm-hmm.
So came home, cut it in half. Right, I was sharing it. Cut it in half. Had a taste. I thought this doesn't taste very nice at all. The cat, as usual, she thinks it's eating time when I eat, but she never shares any of hers with me, particularly mice and birds. And the meat didn't. It was chicken didn't, and I thought, as you do, I have my own taster. The cat. So I thought, it doesn't taste right, this. Let's see if the cat likes it. Didn't eat it.
No.
The cat didn't eat it.
Curled a lip up.
Now, I thought to myself, if my cat won't eat this, I'm not going to eat it. My cat's called Duster.
Yes.
And I said, Duster wants some chicken, and she didn't.
No.
She didn't want any chicken. So that's my one experience in Subways. We all know deep down, don't we, that we're eating stuff we shouldn't.
Yes.
We know processed food is bad for us.
Yeah.
We should know by now microwave food is bad for us.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we should research it and find out that it is bad for us. We should look at microwave energy and how we're being surrounded by it with Wi-Fi and mobile phones.
Yeah.
And how those frequencies have been turned up, and how the people who know much more than us, so that this is going to be a bit like the problems that smoking caused. Because they knew in almost 80, 90 years ago that smoking was bad for us. But even by the 50s, they still had doctors saying that smoking's good for you.
Yeah.
But they knew it wasn't. And they spent an awful lot of money hiding the fact that it wasn't good for us. Well, we can say this was purely a profit-driven market, and it may well be true. But that's not what happens now. Smoking is so addictive, and the 4,000 additives that are put in there, and the fact that it's rolled in formaldehyde.
Well, exactly, yeah.
The fact that they're designed to actually make you as poorly can be, but they're still legal. Now, those new ones, those new electronic cigarettes that have just got a nicotine capsule in, they might not be safe for you. But the stuff that's got 4,000 additives rolled in formaldehyde, you can have them all day.
Yeah.
There's no problem there at all.
No, there's about 500% tax on them, isn't there? So that's
at least.
Yeah.
No problem at all. You can have as many of these as you want. But we'll demonise you.
Yeah.
It's just the world's upside down. We know they're jacking with the water. We know that. Just look at your washing machine.
Yeah.
Look at the cold inlet on your washing machine. And ask yourself why you have to actually rinse that drawer out quite regularly, otherwise it's bloody black.
I've just had a customer. I've just been in re-siliconed their shower. I did it last year, and she rang me up and she said, "That silicone used in the shower," she said, it's gone black again, and she said, I can't understand, it hasn't lasted as long as it did last time. I says, well, as far as I understand, the silicone's just the same, but I think it might be the water. And she says, "Oh, why are you saying that?" I says,
No
because,
shit, Sherlock.
I says, because
No
I says,
shit.
I've got a shower to do in Leeds that I did last year, and they want me back to do that one. I've got my own shower that needs doing that's gone black mould, and this is silicon that says mould resistant on it. And where does the mould grow? On the silicon. It loves it. It goes straight to it, and it is black. It's black, and you cannot wash it off. You cannot wash it off. The bleach doesn't touch it. And I said to her, I says, the only common denominator that we've got with that is the water. And she says, do you think so? I says, I'm pretty much convinced it's the water.
It's like a conversation I had today, right? And I was talking about socialism in schools. And I was talking about this No Child Left Behind policy and how it's affecting our kids.
Yeah.
And how the maths is just a perfect example of how we're being dumbed down to a point of the parents can't help the kids with the homework anymore. You know, some of the problems that the kids are having to solve out will take maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to do a 3-line stack sum that you and I could probably do in 20 seconds. But the kids are being taught that this is understanding and having a relationship with the numbers.
Yeah.
The kids are being taught this is feeling the numbers and learning the numbers and getting involved with the numbers and not being frightened of the numbers. This is fluffy maths. This is rubbish. This is fuzzy maths that makes no sense. But this is how it's been sold. And the kids are encouraged to get into groups of 2 or 3 and to work together to get the answer. And it doesn't matter if they're wrong, as long as they've actually worked together as a team and come up with what they think is the answer.
Oh, right.
The answer is not the important part of the challenge. The challenge is working together and together deciding on what they think is the right answer. And as long as they can show how they've come up to that answer and they've worked together and they all agree, then they get full marks.
Oh, wow.
Well, this is the old, it's not the winning that matters.
Yes.
So everybody now thinks that they're good at something when they're actually rubbish.
Yes.
This is the X Factor approach to life. Because you think you can sing and no one's told you you're bloody rubbish at that, then you're actually disillusioned to the point that you live in a delusion. A life of complete imagining you're something more than you're not. Well, have a look around. I mean, I employ kids all the time. The kids stay for 6, 12, 18 months and they're on the way. And I've said on the shows before, and I'll keep saying, I ask these kids, so what's the plan? What's the plan when you get out into what you're going to do with yourself? And they're all going to be we're going to have a whole country full of video game programmers. All of them. Or computer company owners. Or we're going to an architect. We've got an architect. There's no chance of being an architect right now. I mean, he could turn it around, but right now he doesn't know a brick from a block.
No,
he doesn't.
No,
he doesn't know a brick from a block, and he should, but he doesn't. But they still think you just have to pick what you want, and then someone's going to teach you to be it. That's not exactly how it works, is it? You have to pick something that you might be good at, and then you have to go prove that you are. Well, they don't see it like that. They just think at some point in the future, I'm going to be given a career. So I'm going to pick this and have it. It's not going to work like that. No. These kids with degrees are going to be doing jobs that don't need degrees. But because so many of them are applying, they will.
Yeah, it'll be standard as it was for O levels, and then it was A levels.
Well, a degree will be tying your bloody shoelaces.
Yeah.
It'll be tying your shoelaces and driving your motorbike.
Yeah.
Cars are not going to drive cars anymore. No one's going to drive cars. No.
Can you book a driverless car?
That's why they're coming.
That'll be on your CV.
That's why
they're driverless car.
But that's why they're coming, because those that sit and peer down, they know where we're going.
Yeah.
They see we're losing our abilities. We're losing our ability to do almost everything.
Well,
the learned helplessness is now becoming embarrassing.
Exactly. Going back to the sausage and mash, you can just download it on your app on your phone. You get Hungry House or whatever, hungryhouse.co.uk, and you just type in what you want, a pizza, and it'll send to the nearest pizza place and deliver a pizza to you. It's just the height of laziness.
I want that one.
Yeah.
I want that one.
My daughter's job is a teaching assistant. The teachers she'd like to be a teacher. The teachers are telling her, don't bother, stay as a teacher's assistant. This teacher thing. is a load of rubbish. And she can understand why, because they're not even allowed to tell the kids off, like you were saying. They're working in groups and they're getting the question wrong. You're not allowed to say to them that you've got it wrong.
It's going to change that, you know. It's going to change my ability to do my job here. It's actually going to change what I can achieve. Because if this law comes in, and it's not here yet, but if it comes in, I'm going to have to rethink the way that I actually teach the kids. Because the way I teach them now is actually it's quite a strong way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I say, look, I'm not your mum or your dad. I'm not even your brother or your sister.
No.
And I don't care what you do out of work. But you and I have sat down and you've said you want paying or you want a job. And I've said, well, I've got a job and this is what it entails and this is how much I pay. And you've said, I'll do it. Now, I'm not bothered about any other details of your life at all.
Nope.
I don't want to know them, please. In fact, only if we're having a chat will I even be interested halfway about knowing anything more about you. But what I will do when you're here is I'll try and help you to be better at the job, because I've had lots of experience in doing it. And when they don't learn, which they don't, I tell them, they say, yes, I've got it, and then next week they've forgotten it. Then I tell them, and they say, yes, I've got it, and next week they've forgotten it. And I say, look, you do realise that your inability to remember what I've told you tells me that you're not capable of learning anything right now. Now, you've got to say to yourself, why can't I learn anything? And my answer is, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that your memory doesn't work. Well, that might upset some of the more softer kids. And I could actually be accused of bullying. Well, am I wrong?
No.
But you see, there are people out there who say I am.
Because you've got a standard that you've set for your customers.
But
to keep your customers coming back, you need to attain that standard.
But I'm not asking for anything that the kids previous to those have done.
that have come in.
I'm asking them to repeat what already has been achieved by others.
Yes.
In other words, I'm not raising the standard.
No. Your standard's already set.
Yes. What's coming to me is a lower standard that can't raise to that standard.
Step up to the mark.
You know, they can get under the bar every time, but they can't get over the bar.
Well, that fits with what's happening with Kate, with my daughter Kate. She's teaching primary school children, and they're setting the level of the class to
the lowest.
The three. Kate is a teaching assistant, so she has to help. There's 3 in her class.
No child left behind.
Exactly.
So then we actually set the lessons
to the level of the 3 that can't keep up with the rest of the class.
Right. That is the socialism that's coming.
I know. And
now, I've had that conversation today with somebody else again, and I've said that's the result of what happens with these policies. And do you know what they said? In my day, that wasn't the policy, and this might be a good thing. And I said, no, it's not.
No, it's
not. And they said, well, it is. In my opinion, it's something that should be looked at, because in my day, the standard was set for the highest ones, and the others couldn't keep up. And I've said, no, it doesn't matter about your day. What's happening now is this is going to be the result. That we have a class full of dumb people.
Yeah.
Okay, to make the slowest ones feel better.
That's
what's going to happen.
The ones that can't keep up think they're as good as those. And
yes.
They're not. This is back to illusion.
Yeah.
Illusion and delusion. And not being able to upset that child. And the thing that it pointed out to me was that child's not getting that support at home that it needs, and that's where the problem is. The other problem is that my daughter was wanting to get into teaching, and at the time when she voted for Clegg to get in and Cameron as in the coalition, and they were on about, we need teachers, we need teachers, we need teachers, and they don't need teachers. The class is 28 at the moment. Next year it's going to be 32. So that means they're going for bigger and bigger classes. So that means they need fewer and fewer teachers, when we should be going for more and more teachers and smaller classes.
Yeah, but you're trying to build a society.
Yes,
this one is wrecking it.
Is wrecking it.
This is wrecking it.
This
is bringing us all down.
All down.
All down. They want us all on welfare.
Yes.
All suckers.
All suckers on minimum wage.
On minimum wage.
This is why
they
minimum
want
wage.
The new economy is who'll do it cheapest. And if the UK can't compete in the new economy of who'll do it cheapest, then we will starve.
Yeah.
Now, all we've said, none of what we've said, do we agree is right, or do we actually say is what we think? What we're talking about this evening, what we talk about every evening, is what we see. We talk about what we see, what the future holds, what they've told us they're going to do, and what the common sense result is of us doing nothing will achieve.
Yeah.
It's not going to be stopped. Those that think you can wake people up, I'm going to tell you something. You can wake people up. And you know it's done one at a time. And it takes bloody weeks. Sometimes it takes months. One at a time. Now, when you meet somebody who says they're awake and they can't shut up, they're not. Okay? They're in the nightmare stage. They're not awake at all. If they're arguing, fighting and falling out, they're having a nightmare.
Yeah.
This is a bad dream for them. Okay? Send them away and let them sort it out themselves.
Yeah.
There is no way that anybody can do anything until they've actually figured out what and who they are.
Exactly, yeah.
And do you know what comes back out of that mirror? You're nothing, you're nobody, you've no value, and nobody gives a bugger. And that isn't easy, because you then have to pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and think, do you know,
Yeah.
I aren't actually anything that matters.
No.
And what really matters is what I actually do.
I remember you saying to me one day when we were having our little chats like we do, not unsimilar to what we're doing now, but we always cover the good stuff when we're not on air. But you said to me, do you feel like this is remembering, which is coming back to what I suppose the show is about tonight?
I think it is, yeah.
And you said to me, do you think it's about remembering? I said, I don't know what you mean. He said, you said, well, I think I should have known this stuff. I should have known this stuff, but I didn't know it. But now I'm realising
now,
I did know it, but I didn't know why.
But this is the genetic code that's passed down by your parents.
Yeah.
We don't just make an external copy.
No.
You're given all they knew. And the idea is
that
nurture passes on what they knew, so we benefit from what
and
they
a
knew.
better copy.
And it becomes an original that
of
copies
its own.
itself,
Yeah.
which emerges, and it's the cocoon thing. You come out of the childish stage and mature into the adult that you should be.
Yeah.
We should always be growing up. To be a grown-up is not to be growing.
No.
And if you're not growing in this world, what are you doing? You're dying. You're dying.
Yeah.
This should be an never-ending journey of trying to grow upwards.
Yeah.
But of course, sometimes it feels like you're plumbing the depths. Exactly, you are, because you've got to water the roots.
Yeah.
You see, the darkest depths is where the very truths are that you never wanted to face.
No.
But the balance is the highest highs are the most enjoyable times of your life, but they are tempered with the lowest lows.
Yes.
And you said yourself that you were having
I were having a low week this week.
Well, because we realised
last week and into
we realised that we're not going to turn this around.
No, we're not.
We don't want to turn this around in big enough numbers.
No.
Because the money hasn't run out yet.
No.
Because the feeding station hasn't run out yet. And this could be the very last revolution where they keep it all, they hold it all together.
Yeah. And the very fact of remembering, and you said it to me, it's like I'm putting everything back together, which is what remembering is.
It is. Dismember is to wreck it.
Wreck it all.
I mean, that's the proverbial algorithm mirror falling off my fireplace.
Yes, yeah.
And it really happened, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
It really happened while we were sat.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true. We have to put it back together.
We do. And we can't remember from one week to the next, and there's that much information. We've forgotten about Fukushima. Did I pronounce that right? We've forgotten about the Gulf crisis. We've forgotten about Afghanistan and Iraq. We forget
everything.
Yeah, we forget.
And that is our biggest downfall.
It is.
I just don't want to forget, because we try and process too much.
Too much.
We actually try and process this feed too much. And if we stop processing and stop cussing at our foes,
yes,
because we cuss at our foes, we blame everybody all around us. When we shouldn't cuss at foes, we should focus on ourselves.
Yes.
For another Tuesday.
Yeah.
My name's Paul.
That was a great one tonight, Paul. I quite enjoyed it.
And your name's Andy.
It was.
The Facebooks are below the YouTube video. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.
Good night.